My name is Brittany Vaughn, and I will be telling you how to bake a cinnamon swirl banana bread today. Many people think that baking can be a challenging thing to do, and that it is too time-consuming. I'm going to tell you how to bake one of my favorite banana bread recipes of all time. Since baking is a hobby of mine, I am always searching the internet, specifically the website Pinterest, for new recipes to try and feed to my family, and I found this recipe to be both easy to make and a crowd pleaser every time I make it. As I mentioned previously, I love to bake, and it is a hobby of mine. Today, I'm going to show you how to make a cinnamon swirl banana bread. Baking cinnamon swirl banana bread takes 8 easy steps to complete, and when you're all done, you'll have a delicious treat to enjoy. The first step is to gather all your ingredients you need ahead of time. The second step is to preheat the oven so it is ready for the banana bread. The third step is to prepare your loaf pan. The fourth step is to mix the wet ingredients together. The fifth step is to slowly add the dry ingredients in with the wet ingredients. The sixth step is to mix together the cinnamon topping. The seventh step is to pour the batter into the prepared loaf pan. And finally, the eighth step is to bake the banana bread in the oven. I will explain each of these in detail, and I will show you pictures of each step as I go along. For the first step is to gather all the ingredients. For the bread part, you will need 3 overly ripe bananas that are mashed up, a stick of butter, 3/4 of a cup of granulated sugar, an egg, a teaspoon of vanilla extract, a teaspoon of baking soda, a pinch of salt, and 1½ cups of all-purpose flour. For the cinnamon topping, you will need 1/3 of a cup of granulated sugar and about a tablespoon of ground cinnamon. You'll also need a large mixing bowl for the bread, a small bowl for the cinnamon topping, 2 spoons to mix everything together, and a loaf pan. Now, the second step is to preheat the oven. You'll want to set the oven to 350 degrees Fahrenheit. The third step is to prepare your loaf pan. It's best to butter and flour your loaf pan to ensure that the bread will not stick to the sides when it is done. Once you have buttered your pan, go ahead and melt the remaining butter in the microwave for about 30 seconds and set aside to cool. You'll want the melted butter to cool so that you do not cook the eggs whenever you add it with your wet ingredients. You'll take the stick of butter and smear it all over the sides of the loaf pan, getting in every corner. Then you'll need to get a couple tablespoons of flour and shake it all around the loaf pan to make sure that it coats it evenly. Then, to get rid of the excess flour of the pan, you'll want to tap it slightly on the edge of the sink, and now your pan is ready to use. The fourth step is to mix together the wet ingredients. You'll mix together in a large mixing bowl the mashed up bananas, your melted butter, sugar, egg, and vanilla until well combined. The fifth step is to slowly add the dry ingredients with the wet ingredients. You'll sprinkle on the baking soda and a pinch of salt over the wet ingredients. Then you'll slowly stir in the 1½ cups of flour, but be careful not to overmix the batter because that will make the bread tough. The sixth step is to mix together the cinnamon sugar topping. Once the batter is ready, you'll mix together the cinnamon and the sugar in a small bowl until it is well combined. The seventh step is to pour the batter into the prepared loaf pan. Now that everything is ready to go, it's time to pour the batter into the pan. You'll add half of the bread batter into the loaf pan, then you'll sprinkle half of the cinnamon sugar over that. Next, you'll pour the remaining bread batter over the cinnamon sugar and even it out. Lastly, you'll sprinkle the remaining cinnamon sugar over the top of the bread batter. The eighth and last step is to put your bread in the oven. You'll bake the bread in a 350-degree oven for about an hour. To sum it all up, this recipe is not very difficult and it only has 8 easy steps. The first step is to preheat your oven. Second, you'll want to gather your ingredients. The third step is to prepare your loaf pan. The fourth step is to mix together the wet ingredients. The fifth step is to add your dry ingredients into the wet ingredients. The 6th step is to prepare your cinnamon sugar topping. The 7th step is to pour your batter into the loaf pan. And finally, the 8th step is to put your bread into the oven. When you follow these 8 easy steps, you'll be able to bake the best cinnamon swirl banana bread and wow your friends and family with this yummy treat. Thank you.